From the makers of Brothers Keeper comes another compelling real-life journey into the heart of America.
The police in West Memphis, Arkansas, confirmed today that 3 young boys were brutally murdered. The bodies were pulled from a shallow creek earlier today. There are rumors that the boys may have been sexually mutilated.
Christopher never hurt anybody. He had a gentle, loving, and giving heart. And they crucified him in those woods. And they humiliated his little body.
I can't imagine what was going through Michael's mind. What were they doing to him? Was he calling for me? He was really being killed by real monsters.
17-year-old Jesse Miskelly allegedly confesses to watching 2 other suspects choke, rape, and sexually mutilate 3 West Memphis second graders.
I think the cops just can't find who done it, and they gotta put it on somebody.
I want you to smile and blow me a kiss for this one. I just wounded him. I want him to bleed a little bit like he made my baby bleed.
Imagine all the evil that you could think of, the how someone could be murdered. And that's how these 3 children died.
He had told us that he had attended some satanic cult type meetings. The animals had been killed and eaten by the members.
Have you ever participated in any type of human sacrifice?
No, I have not.
He's got the motive. He's big enough that he can carry the boys there and throw them in.
Satanic panic. Yeah, that's a scary thing. But it's a scarier thing to convict someone with no evidence.
Defense exhibit number E6. Had that knife ever been used before?
Used for what?
Anything wrong with wearing black? Anything wrong with the heavy metal stuff in and of itself? No. But when you look at it together, you begin to see inside Damien Eccles, and there's not a soul in there.
He deserves to be tortured and punished for the rest of his life for murdering 3 8-year-old children.
And there's not a drop of blood? Not a drop of blood?
I didn't kill these 3 little boys. I didn't kill those 3 little boys.
I hope your master, the devil, does take you soon. I promise you, as God is my witness, I'll visit all 3 of your graves.
Okay.
Where were these found, guys?
Green one on the left side there, red one on the right side.
231. 231.
Don't let nobody come up here. Don't want nobody in here.
The police in West Memphis, Arkansas, confirmed today that 3 young boys were brutally murdered. The bodies of Weaver Elementary School second graders Stephen Branch, Christopher Byers, and Michael Moore were pulled from a shallow creek earlier today. There are rumors that the boys may have been sexually mutilated. The police say that they do not yet have any suspects in the case. The missing 8-year-old boys were discovered in an area known as Robin Hood Hills, a secluded patch of woods behind the Blue Beacon truck wash along Interstate 40 in West Memphis.
Imagine all the evil that you could think of, the how someone could be murdered. And that's how these 3 children died.
No family should have to go through this. Unfortunately, it's going to happen again somewhere. Another town. It's going to happen again, I'm sure. A lot of bad people out there in the world.
I don't know why these 3 little boys were murdered. Did they see something they were not supposed to see?
they found my son's testicles in a jar of alcohol in Damon Eccles' house with his fingerprints on the jar. Now, how do you dispute that?
Some idiot started a rumor saying that they found children's sexual parts under my bed or in my house, and there was no body parts in my house. Or it's just, I think maybe the police had something to do with it, just because however, if they can make us look bad in front of the public, then people are going to kind of have their minds made up before anything ever comes out.
19-year-old Damon Eccles admits he stands out in a crowd. He says he loves heavy metal music, likes short memory, practices the Wicca religion. 3, 2, 1. 19-year-old Damon Eccles says he's 3, 2, 1. 19-year-old Damon Eccles admits he stands out in a crowd. He says he likes to wear black most of the time, practices the Wicca religion, and loves heavy metal music, but he says he's definitely not a killer.
Were you working at Bojangles Restaurant on the evening of May 5th of 1993?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us what happened?
Well, it was about 9:30 at night. Found a black gentleman sitting in the women's restroom on the commode, and there was blood dripping off of his forearm. But he had mud on his feet, and he seemed to be disarrayed when I talked to him. I called the police then.
What happened then?
It was a female officer for the West Memphis Police Department,
Okay.
and she pulled on the light, and I saw her coming, so I went up to the front door. Well, she kept coming around. She went to the drive-through window.
So you did not go in the restaurant?
No, sir, I did not.
Did you ever find this bleeding black man?
No, sir, I did not.
Do you have a report that you made regarding this incident?
No, sir, I do not.
And you're out looking for some boys, and you're out in that area, and you hear about someone bleeding. Did anything go off in your mind thinking that something may be going on?
Okay, first of all, you got to understand it's a different area I went to. It was a different ward. I did not connect the two at all.
Well, Patrolman, it may have been outside your ward, but distance-wise between the area where you were looking and where this restaurant was, it's not a long distance, is it?
No, sir, it's really not.
Okay.
Did any other officer come out there that evening?
Not that evening.
Were you working on the day of May 6th of 1993?
Yes, sir. 2 detectives came out, and they took a report as far as what I'd seen, description of the gentleman, and then they took blood scrapings off the wall.
All right, Detective Ridge, what is the date that you sent the blood scrapings off to the crime lab to be analyzed?
They were never sent.
They were never sent?
That's correct.
All right, where are the blood samples at this time?
I don't know, sir. They're lost.
They're lost?
Yes, sir. That's my mistake. I lost a piece of evidence.
44 minutes after the hour, they've served nearly 2 decades in prison for a crime they say they never committed. But now the 3 men dubbed the West Memphis 3, who were convicted of brutally killing 3 young boys in West Memphis, Arkansas, walk away today free men. The court made its ruling just a couple of hours ago. Prosecutors argued that Jason Baldwin, Damian Eccles, and Jesse Miskelly Jr., who you see right here, of course, these are old photos, were driven by satanic ritual, that they hogtied these 3 boys with shoelaces and mutilated their bodies before tossing them in a ditch. But this case has gotten national attention. Even celebrities like singer Eddie Vedder and the Dixie Chicks, who you see here, along with actor Johnny Depp, were rallying for their release. Why? Well, because of what investigators could not do, which is provide direct evidence that tied the 3 men to the boys' murders. DNA evidence later failed to link the men to the crime. So I want to go straight to Jonesboro, Arkansas now, where our David Mattingly is standing by outside the course. Of course, David, this case has gotten so much attention, not the least of which because the conviction, was not overturned, and yet they were set free. So explain to us exactly how this happened.
That's right. This attention that's been focused on this case for so long is not going to go away because there's still plenty to argue about here. It was a very complicated deal that went down in that courtroom today. We watched the three of them walk in, but then they had to agree to put in a guilty plea to first-degree murder charges. And if they did that, then they would be able to go free with time served. It's called an offered plea, where they're not actually saying that they're guilty, even though they are entering a guilty plea. This allows the prosecution and the defense to both claim a victory. But when you talk to the defendants themselves, they found that their first taste of freedom was somewhat bitter because it wasn't the clear statement of innocence that they had wanted. Listen.
This was not justice, you know. In the beginning, we told nothing but the truth that we were innocent, and they sent us to prison for the rest of our lives for it. And then we had to come here, and the only thing that the state would do for us was to say, hey, we'll let you go, only if you admit guilt. And that's not justice, no matter how you look at it.
It's not perfect. It's not perfect by any means, but at least it brings closure to some areas and some aspects. You know, we can still bring up new evidence. We can still continue the investigations we've been doing. We can still try to clear our names. The only difference is now we can do it from the outside instead of having to sit in prison and do it.
Prosecutors say that they believe that their prosecution of these three was just and that they are not reopening this case because the case is now closed, that the people responsible for it have been punished. Defense attorneys, however, saying you would not see this deal being done. You would not see the state of Arkansas letting these three go if they truly believe that these three were guilty. And the arguing goes on. This case may never be settled. Alina.
David Mattingly watching it all for us from Jonesboro, Arkansas. David, thank you very much. And for more